I used to think that to change my life, I needed a massive breakthrough, a perfect plan, a perfect mood, a perfect Monday morning. But that perfect moment never came. What actually changed me was something much smaller, much closer. It was one daily practice that rewired the way I met each day. Every night, I wrote down 2 honest lines, and every morning, I took one tiny action that proved those lines were true. Slowly, the negative script in my head softened. The slope of my choices tilted towards something better. This is the story of how to rewire your mind without using force. How one small practice turned hesitation into movement, noise into focus, and huge goals into something my hands could actually touch. By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to set up a notebook, write your 2 lines tonight, and prepare one small action for the morning. This isn't about a total life makeover. It's just about taking a new first step and then repeating it. My days used to feel both full and strangely empty. I'd wake up, grab my phone, and let other people's priorities decide my first hour. I'd promise myself I would start my real work after coffee, or after a walk, or after a quick scroll on social media that would swallow 30 minutes and give me nothing back. When I finally sat down to work, that first sentence on the page looked like a cliff I couldn't climb. I wanted to feel a burst of energy before I took action. But energy wanted me to move first. The longer I waited, the more my mind fed me reasons that sounded like facts. You're already behind. You need a better plan. You're just not the kind of person who can do this. I tried everything. New apps, new routines, color coding my calendar. Each fix worked for a few days, and then it would crack under the pressure of real life. I thought I had a discipline problem, but what I really had was a design problem. My starting line was too difficult, my escape routes were too easy, and my endings were harsh, so my brain never wanted to come back for more. I needed to shrink the distance between deciding to do something and actually doing it. And I needed to end each session in a way that made tomorrow feel easier, not heavier. I didn't need to become a new person. I just needed a smaller door for the person I already was. There is a hidden cost to breaking promises to yourself that you'll never see on a spreadsheet. It's the quiet erosion of self-trust. Each time, pre-med-aside, I'll do it later. I was teaching my brain that my word didn't mean much. That lesson didn't just stay in the corner of my work life. It bled into everything. It showed up in the replies I postponed, the workouts I skipped, and the sleep I'd pushed off for just one more episode. My identity started to shift from I do what I say, ILL do, to I intend to do what I say. It's a tiny change in language, but a heavy one to carry. My constant distraction also warped my expectations. When you get a hit of novelty every few seconds from a screen, anything that requires slow, steady focus feels wrong. I mistook that discomfort for a sign to stop, instead of seeing it as a signal to stay just a little bit longer, until the meaning could appear. I kept waiting for motivation to show up and lead the way, but motivation prefers to meet you mid-stride. The stakes here were bigger than just productivity. It was about who I believed myself to be when no one else was watching. I realized if I could just rebuild that self-trust with small, daily receipts of proof, the rest would follow. Focus, progress, even a sense of calm. The question became practical. What is one single practice I can stick with, even on my worst day, that proves a truer story about who I am? The turning point arrived at my kitchen table with a cheap notebook. I wrote down one sentence I'd been scared to admit. My brain is a storyteller, and not all of its stories are true. It hit me that if I could edit the story and then back it up with a small action, I could retrain the narrator in my head. So I created a simple loop I called Notice Name Next. At night, I would notice the loudest, most negative thought I had that day. Then, I'd name a truer, kinder story in one simple line. Finally, I'd choose the next 2-minute action that would prove that new story was true tomorrow morning. And in the morning, I would do that one action before the rest of the world got a vote. 2 lines in 2 minutes. It felt almost silly, but it also felt possible. The first night, my loudest thought was, I'm always behind. The truer story I wrote was I move forward when I begin small. The action was simple. Read the first paragraph of my project out loud at my desk before touching my phone. I staged the scene. I left the book open on my desk with a glass of water and a sticky note that just said first paragraph. In the morning, I counted down from 5, and at 1, I just moved. 60 seconds later, I had done it. I had proof, and that negative narrator in my head went quiet. Here's the exact practice I still use, and how you can start it tonight. First, notice. Each evening, sit with a notebook for just 60 seconds. Take a breath and ask yourself, what was the loudest thought today? Write it down. No judgment. Just get it out of your head and onto the paper. Second, name. Underneath that thought, write one truer, kinder line. This isn't a fantasy. It's a truth with teeth. I'm always behind becomes I move forward when I begin small. I can't focus becomes I focus when the first minute is easy. I'm not consistent becomes I keep tiny promises daily. Third, next. Choose one 2-minute action that makes your new story truer tomorrow. Read one paragraph aloud. Write one ugly first sentence. Do one slow set of push-ups. Send one honest text message. The key is that the action must be real output, not just preparing to do something. Fourth, stage. Put the tools you need right where your hand will land in the morning. Open the document to the right page. Turn the book to the next chapter. Put your shoes by the door. Draft a message with the contact name already filled in. Make the first move closer than your excuses. Fifth, do. When you wake up, don't open a debate with yourself. You'll lose that debate to delay. Instead, just count down from 5 and move at 1. Decisions made in seconds will always outrun excuses made in minutes. And when you're done, end kindly on purpose. Your brain remembers endings, and gentle endings invite you to try again. Sixth, mark. Place one dot on a calendar or a check on a small card. You're not chasing a perfect streak. You're collecting evidence. Evidence builds identity. Identity sustains effort. If life gets chaotic, just perform the smallest possible version of your action before bed and let it count. The rule is never 0. And finally, grow. When 2 minutes feels automatic, add 1 to 3 more minutes. Not 30. Layer the depth slowly. This is a practice, not a performance. The win is repetition, not intensity. After 2 weeks, nobody else noticed a transformation in me, but I did. The first minutes of my mornings no longer belonged to the loudest, most anxious thought. They belonged to the truest thing. Reading one paragraph aloud slowly became 8 minutes of focused flow before my phone even knew I was awake. One slow set of push-ups turned into a short workout I could actually trust myself to complete. One honest message reopened a quiet thread of connection with people I had accidentally neglected. The endless scroll on social media didn't lose all its appeal, but it lost its place at the front of the line. The biggest shift wasn't in how I spent my time, it was in trust. I started ending my days with proof, not just promises. Sleep came easier because that little notebook held tomorrow's first step. Projects began to move forward in quiet centimeters that eventually added up to miles. I realized I wasn't rewiring my mind with one single breakthrough. I was rewiring it with a small, daily signal that said, "This is who we are now." The narrator in my head learned a new voice, not because I argued with it, but because I gave it new facts to tell. If this story gave you even a small breath of possibility, protect it. Tonight, set out a notebook. Write 2 lines. The loudest thought you carried today, and a truest story you choose for tomorrow. Pick one 2-minute action that would make that story real, and stage the tools where your hand will find them first. In the morning, count down from 5 and move at 1. End kindly and mark one visible check. Then do it again tomorrow. Rewire your mind with one daily practice, and let your days learn a new script 1 minute, 1 line, and 1 piece of proof at a time. Thanks for watching.